Let's go. Chop, chop.
Good morning, my friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, where it's another pristine morning. It's a little bit more chilly this morning. My bare feet are kind of feeling the coldness this morning, but it's still beautiful here at sunrise. And I'll tell you, there's a lot to get into in today's report, and you're going to want to hang on to hear it all. San Quintin down there, we've got great yellowtail fishing along with some excellent rock fishing. Ensenada continues very strong on the Viejas, the Sheep's Head, and so much more. And of course, our Bluefin tuna bite in Southern California is headed toward Christmas with no signs of slowing down. You know what time it is, everybody. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning to you all. What a way to start the day. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is great to be back with you all. We've got so much fishing information to get across to you. First of all, however, I want to tell you all that I went over and visited my friend Eddie Leland, Captain Eddie Leland. And Eddie is in that battle with cancer, but he looks so much better. We talked fishing for a couple of hours, and Eddie was just nonstop talking about fishing, his love of fishing, how he wants to get back to it. I truly believe that fishing is motivating him to get better, and he's doing such a great job. Later today, I'm going to go visit my friend Paul Burbank and his lovely wife, Deb. Paul, I send you all my very, very best. Paul's having some health issues right now, but we know you're going to get better, so hang in there, my friend. I know that is all going to work out. I'll see you this afternoon, my friend. And, of course, this evening, Brian Wynn will be on the Friedman Adventures live podcast. I can't wait. Brian is an encyclopedia of fishing knowledge. He'll share his knowledge with each and every one of you. You'll be able to ask questions and find out more from Brian tonight. Talk bluefin, talk surf fishing, talk fishing Mexico. You can talk it all. Talk fishing the surf. Brian will have your answer for you tonight, along with some great Christmas ideas and so much more. As many of you know, we are in the process of moving lots of clothing and goods and all kinds of great stuff down to Mexico to thank our brothers and sisters down there for allowing us to fish those pristine waters. We so deeply appreciate it that we want to show our appreciation. And we are moving thousands of pieces of clothing that we have gathered all year long, but we can't do it without you. It costs a lot to move that stuff across the border. There's Mexican insurance, there's hotel stays, there's gas, there's storage. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So whatever it is you can give, we would deeply appreciate it if you would do that. No amount is too small. It all helps us to get this stuff across the border. And with extra funds, we can provide food and other essentials that people in Mexico really, really need. Remember, there's no safety net there. So anything you can do here during this time of giving, of thinking about others, would be deeply appreciated. You can send it via Venmo, you can send it to my number via Zelle, and I guarantee you all of it will go to make a big impact in the lives of so many. All right, let's get into the fishing as this gentleman goes by. I think he's going surf fishing right now, maybe. It looks like it. I don't see a rod though. Anyway, let's get into the fishing, and let's start south of the border, but let's start down in San Quintin, where there's some very good yellowtail action going on. I love it. Right before wintertime chronologically. It feels like winter right now, and it is December. It's late fall. There's some excellent yellowtail fishing going on down there. So if you wanted to make the drive down to San Quintin, which is 140 miles south of the border, man, I'll tell you, it will pay off not only with those yellows, but also with some excellent rock fishing. I tell you, that is a venue that is absolutely fantastic, and I know you're going to enjoy it a lot. Now, Ensenada, our friends at Blackfin, Arnie Sport Fishing, as well as Costa Baja, Diego Nuno's great little operation down there in Ensenada. very good fishing for sheepshead and whitefish and rockfish and all those other species. It has been going really, really well, and hopefully it's going to continue to head in the right direction. The weather has been perfect. The forecast is for good weather. Remember, when I'm talking weather, I'm talking the ocean surface and wind. If it rains, we don't even factor that in. Like tonight, we're supposed to get a little bit of rain here in Southern California, northern Baja, but I am talking about whether or not it's going to be safe, dangerous, those kind of factors when I mention weather. And it's going to be beautiful down there in Ensenada along the coast. They go down to the Soledad Bank a lot off Santo Tomas, blackfin sport fishing, and they do quite well with some nice big lings and, again, sheepshead, boccaccio, vermilions, just some of the finest eating fish in the sea. And that, of course, is continuing. Hey, I'd be remiss not to mention that there's been some good long-range fishing and some great times going on long-range boats. We've seen Chris Stinger on the Intrepid with a beautiful wahoo here recently. Polaris Supreme has had some great fishing. American Angler. All the guys have been doing really, really well. And let me also mention, if you go through our archives, you can find something I did with Andy Cates here recently on the Red Rooster 3. He's going to be located down in the Magdalena Bay, Bahia Magdalena, Mag Bay area, and they're going to be doing these great eco-tourism type trips that are not only affordable, but they are real adventures. Check that out. Andy's a great guy, and the Red Rooster 3 is offering some really great stuff indeed. All right, let's talk bluefin tuna, because that is still going on. It's unbelievable that we're almost to Christmas and we're still catching BFT out there around the Tanner Bank, where the water temps now are in the high 50s and the fish are still nibbling away. And you've got to love that. Pride, 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California. Sean Roberts, Michael Pavant, those guys fish their tails off every single time. Most recent trip, limits of bluefin tuna. Great fishing going on, and it just does not want to slow down one bit at all. Now, most of these fish are cookie cutter fish, 20 pounders, but Sean Roberts says they've lost a couple of those 60, 70 pounders lately. Fish chew through the line, or, you know, the hook pulls, something like that, and that occurs when you're fishing lighter line. And unfortunately, when you're fishing sardine, it seems like you need to go down to that 20, 25 pound to get a bite. Sometimes that's not the case, and every scenario is different. Pay attention to your crew. They'll tell you what to go to. If the fish really fire up and start to chew and bite, you can go to the heavier line, 40, 60 pound. But if they're finicky and you're trying to get one, you may have to drop down to that fluorocarbon 25 pound. www.opsonusa.com. Man, those are our guys. If you want great fluoro, opsonusa.com will do it for you. Put in FA at checkout, and Greg Brown, their owner, will send you a love note, although Mike Krinkovich said there was no perfume on his note. So Greg, I don't know what's going on with you, but Mike was really heartbroken. No perfume on his card. But he got a thank you, and he got a free gift, and he was stoked, and he loves Ops and fluorocarbon. Mike, thanks for supporting our sponsors. We really, really appreciate it. So you have to get down, especially when you're fishing sardine, to that lighter line. Now, these fish are also eating the live squid, and the Pride on their last trip left with tanks full of live squid, and they have a propensity to want to bite on the heavier stuff when you're fishing with live squid. I'm talking 40 pound, even 60 pound, a bigger hook. Also, you know, when you're fishing that sardine, you got to drop down to a number 4 hook sometimes. But when you're fishing with the squid, you can get away with 2-0 hook, sometimes even a little bit bigger than that. Sometimes you have to drop it down. Remember, this is fluid. It changes. And what makes sport fishing an enigma, but so challenging at the very same time. So keep that in mind. It's so important to your success. Make sure you're paying attention to what is going on deck. And one of the best ways to do that, besides paying attention, is to make friends with a crew member and just look at them and say, what do I do now? Especially if you're new to the game, that will make a big difference. So mostly that 20, 25 pound fish, there's a lot of them. It's mostly limit style fishing. It's been good for the San Diego based boats. They've had some excellent scores here recently also. And it just seems to go on and on and on and on and on. Cortez, 2.5 day trip, 47 on the bluefin tuna for 15 guys. Limits of rockfish. I would be remiss to not mention to you that there is also some excellent rock fishing. So if you get finished up on the bluefin tuna, you can put some color in the fish holds with some great rock fishing. I fished that area, Tanner Bank, commercially for a few years when I was way younger, and I love fishing that zone. You catch some nice big lings at time and some beautiful reds and boccaccio. It is spectacular. So you get the best of both worlds. In fact, John Moore came down the other morning, Sunday morning, for coffee with Friedman Adventures, and he was thinking about going on an all rockfish trip or whether he should go on a tuna trip. And we kind of suggested to him, hey, if you jump on board the Pride or you jump on board a sport boat that's catching these bluefin, more than likely you're going to get a shot at the rockfish also. So it's the best of both worlds. And John, when you get out, I'm telling you, I'm wishing you the very, very best, because John Moore is one heck of a guy, and he makes some of the best tuna salad. I can't wait for our Malahini trips again, John. It is really, really good stuff. So good luck to John. Hopefully he gets out and makes it happen. All right, so very good. Remember, a little bit lighter line when you're fishing the sardine. You can get away with the heavier if you have live squid or you have fresh dead squid. That also has been working. Excuse me. And that bite just still going on. And man, you can look here. Not that the weather along the beach here is any indication of what's going on 70 miles offshore, but it's nice. It might get a little breezy out there, but it's not going to be bad at all. And you should be able to keep this thing rocking right on through the next couple days. Freedom going tonight out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. Pride's going on a regular basis. Sean Roberts says, I'm not pulling the plug on this, man. I'm just going to ride this thing for as long as we can ride it. And that's exactly what the guys have been doing. Now, as we take a look at the islands, I already mentioned down there, San Martin Island and the coastal regions out of San Quintin. Good yellow action going on down there. As we move you up to Todos Santos Island, there's been a few more yo-yo iron, yellowtail taken at Todos. Good bonita fishing along the coast, Punta Banda area, rockfish elsewhere. We take a look at San Clemente Island and the Coronado Islands, and both are featuring mostly rockfish. It would not surprise me to see some more and more yellowtail start to show up in both those areas, especially with the amount of squid that we have strewn all up and down the coast this year. We've got market squid just about everywhere. So that is absolutely great news, and it's a magnet that attracts so many predators into our zones. That's what's so great about that squid. It just attracts all those predators, yellowtail, halibut, white sea bass. Bodes well for the spring of next year. I'm very excited about that. At Catalina Island, we see a lot of bonita and rockfish. Santa Barbara, some big yellows there. And again, I mentioned to you that the yachts have been doing really, really well here recently on some bigger white sea bass also. So yacht fishing has been good. So we hope that that will also move over into the sport boats at some point in time. But for right now, it has been mostly a yacht thing. Santa Barbara, as I mentioned, some sea bass yellows. Nicholas, absolutely wonderful fishing on the sheep's head and the rockfish. You find a boat that's going to Nick, and you're almost guaranteed, if you have good weather, of some fantastic bottom fishing. You can hardly beat that. Channel Islands, man, what can I tell you? Up there to Santa Barbara and Morro Bay, all that area, lings and rockfish, man, it is so good right now. It is so darn excellent, the fishing up there in that neck of the woods. And we get flashed every once in a while on some halibut and sea bass and yellowtail, but it's mostly rockfish right there, up there in that neck of the woods. Along our coastal area, half-day and three-quarter-day boats, occasional sand bass and calico bass, mostly all rockfish. And in the surf, more barred perch in this cooler water. They like the cooler water, and barred perch are fun to catch, and they taste really, really good. Let me tell you, they are a great eating fish. So keep that in mind, my friends. And also, there's been some bigger yellowfin croaker. Yellowfin croaker love to bite that chrome crocodile. If you want to throw a jig, 3/4 ounce, you make a cast. See where that wave's breaking right there? Now you cast right now, and then you come back in through that white water. That white water that you see there, see it right there? That is actually breaking loose in the sand all kinds of critters, sand crabs and other things that these surffish like to eat. So they stage behind the breaking waves, you'll see another one break out there. They're staging there behind it, and then they zoom in that white water and start looking for feed. And if your little crocodile happens to be going through at the right time, you're going to get a bite. Surf fishing is so much fun. I know you're going to enjoy it. All right, my friends, Monte Carlo on the 16th. We've got a kids, parents fishing trip. Send me a note, and I'll tell you how you can get on board for absolutely zilch. Won't cost you a cent. So that is 657-227-6459. And if you can make a donation to our Mexico efforts, it would deeply be appreciated via Zelle or via Venmo, or we can meet in person down at 22nd Street Landing. Maybe we'll do another coffee Sunday this Sunday. I love doing those. Love hearing from you. Love hearing what makes our show better. Don't miss us tonight. Please don't miss us. We're going to have Brian Wynn. He's an encyclopedia of sport fishing. It's our live show at 6 p.m. I can't wait to see you for that show. And of course, I'll see you again really, really soon on this gorgeous, beautiful day in Southern California at sunrise. I don't know how it gets any better. Take care, my friends. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I hope to see you really, really soon. So all those wonderful people who were here helped us to get this all fixed up and organized. Man, I am so stoked. We've got so many great items that now we need to transport to Mexico. That's another whole big pain in the neck, but it's so worth it when you see people's faces and see the joy that all of you who've given us so much great stuff. And it's all great stuff. I mean, if we find anything that is not up to par, we toss it. And there's very little of that went on. So thank you, thank you, thank you very, very much. Couldn't have done it without Greg Bates. He's been here every step of the way. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
And Joe Gallagher, Joey Gallagher, Megan, everybody here at Gallagher Staging. Man, I tell you, these are people who are making the world a better, better, better place. And my friendship with Joe and Joey and all of the Gallaghers goes back so many years. They've always been there for me, and they continue to do it time in and time out. Can't thank them enough.